Hey guys, and welcome back to the English shooting live stream. A huge apologies for the slight shift in start time. Of course, I do have a life outside of YouTube and making videos and entertaining you guys. So 7:30 is going to be the usual time, as it always sort of has been. Well, has been for the last year, really. But as some of you may know, I'm actually going through the processes of buying our first house, and because of work and other commitments, can't do the viewings in the mornings or the afternoons. So well, in the lunchtime, daytime. So they're in the evening, and I just got back a little bit too late, and I probably could have made 10:30, but I've been panting and sweating, and I thought I'd give myself the extra half an hour to sort of chill and get ready. I was also at a wedding yesterday, so it's been a pretty hectic few days. But anyway, a later stream is better than no stream. So thanks everyone for coping with the later time. For anybody new, this is the weekly English shooting live stream for this channel. It's an opportunity to talk all things guns. You can ask me any questions you want. I will try and answer them to the best of my knowledge. I am by no means an expert of all things guns, but there are certainly a lot of knowledgeable people that watch the stream, and thankfully they will back me up and fill in the gaps where my knowledge has gaps. But yeah, I hope you've all had a fantastic week from the last time we streamed. It's been busy. The weeks seem to be flying past at the moment. Fantastic weather as well. Let's just get that cliche out the out the way. We are British, so we are either moaning that it's too cold and wet, or we are moaning that it is too hot. And I certainly have been moaning that it is too hot the last few days, and walking around in three-piece suit. Yesterday I would have much rather have been in shorts and t-shirt. Is your gilet in the wash? No, it is too bloody hot to be wearing a gilet, so I'm very casual. I'm actually bollock naked from the waist down, but you never see below my waist, so I thought I would get away from that. YouTube, please don't ban me. But yeah, few of you guys moaning about the latest time. Like, what am I to do, right? It's not like you guys pay me to do this, you know. Like, give me a break. Mochaccino, obviously, you know, being an action air shooter, can't shoot a shotgun properly and has buggered his shoulder. You can't English tonight. You can't English any night, Arius. Yeah, looks like he spent the last half an hour having snoo. Well, your mum made an impromptu visit, and I can never turn her down. She's quite a feisty one, and it was a bit of a treat. So there we go. I got caught. Like, sorry, I could have been. I could have been here on time. I was just banging Mochaccino's mum. Like, you know, try, like, if you get the opportunity, try it, right? You know, you thank me later. Tuxedo shorts when? No, just full birthday shoot, just below the waist, of course. I've got to stay YouTube friendly on the top half, but let it all dangle free. It's feel the breeze. Anyway, let's get back onto a more serious topic, shall we? There's any potential new subscribers or viewers have long fucked off by this point. So social media, a topic that I know a thing or two about, and gun ownership, I technically know less about, but let's brush over that one quickly. Social media and gun ownership, it has its pros and its cons, as I'm sure all of you can imagine. But there was a thread and a post going on in one of the groups that was about the channel and about myself. Still loads of incorrect rumors and misinformation floating about, but I'm more than happy to sort of join in the conversation and you know, put the record straight, as it were. But the conversation came up about social media, and I said, you know, pretty much that I've never professed to be an expert. I've never professed to be the savior of all things shooting. At the end of the day, I saw that there was a gap in sort of the knowledge sharing. We have these amazing, yes, they have their flaws, but overall amazing platforms like Facebook and YouTube, and it allows normal average people to reach people in larger numbers than ever before, and it's a fantastic tool for promotion and reaching new people. And that is how the channel started. I thought, like, there's no one out there really explaining the ins and outs, so why don't I just do it? Like, well, I'll give it a stab, and then here we are. But it got on the conversation of, you know, why basically why is the shooting community social media adverse, and that has everything to do with the downsides, the pitfalls of social media. So you can look at it at many different levels. First of all, if you put yourself out there on social media, on a personal page, not even doing it, for a company, or say like EnglishShooting, but doing it just on your personal social media page, you are going to lose friends, right? 100%. It's a sad thing, I look at it. I look at being myself quite an open-minded individual. I will listen to anybody's point of view, regardless of how laughable I may think it is. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, and I think it is through discussion and listening to objections to your own view is how you build a better picture and have a better discussion, and you can even refine your own arguments from those. So I'm always up to listen from any stance point, but guns are incredibly divisive, and usually the anti-gunners do not want to entertain any conversation. They will just defriend you and ban you, and that's probably the best case scenario. Let's say you put out there on social media that you're a gun owner, you will be attacked for it. You won't just have people unfriend you or not like your photo. You will be personally attacked. And the thumbnail for the live stream this evening actually has some significance to this subject, and I'm going to bring it up now. I actually put that photo, so it's shooting. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Desert Eagle 50. It was the 44 Magnum, still an incredible gun to shoot, and as you can see, it makes quite a lot of flames. So I ended up putting this on my personal picture, sort of banner picture. And this is more of an extreme example because of the timing, right? 14th of November 2015. Just Google that date and you're going to understand why this is probably not the normal sort of attack, or maybe pissing off of people that you can usually do around guns. This was around the Paris attacks. This was I can't remember if it was the Bataclan or it was Charlie Hebdo, but it was the day of the day of these of one of these attacks, and there were many around this period. And I had spent all day. I was in America, out there with work, and I'd spent all day on the range, and because obviously data charges internationally are absolutely extortionate. I had my phone I had it put on airplane mode, right? So I'd spent this fantastic day shooting all these new guns, shooting a Desert Eagle, albeit in .44, and I think I even shot I can never remember. It's the Casull 464 Casull or whatever. You guys know what I mean. So yeah, I'd shot all these new guns, and I'd made loads of content for the channel, and I was buzzing. It was like a dream come true to sort of get hold of some of these guns and shoot them. So literally the first thing I did, right, I got back to the hotel, spent all day out of it, and of course different time zones because we're in America. And I just literally dumped the footage on. I'd got that screenshot, and I just put it straight up on Facebook because it was like, I managed to shoot a Desert Eagle, and then I started getting the backlash for it because there'd been this terrorist attack. They had used guns, and basically people saying that I was being inappropriate. First of all, I genuinely had no idea that the attacks had happened. It was only once people had started sort of commenting on the photo, but even so, given that there had been this terrorist attack, I said, well, sorry, what's the connection here, right? First of all, they were using AK-47s that were illegally smuggled into the country. It was illegal to own that gun in the country, period, and they committed mass murder, right? Whereas I had gone to a state-approved legal gun range, fired a lawfully held firearm, which was a pistol and not an AK, and it was quite obvious that it was a bit of sort of holiday fun, as it were, or a bit of recreation. But this is instantly the comparisons that you're going to get if you start putting pictures out there of you shooting on social media, you are going to get people straight away making the connection with criminality, with terrorist attacks, with nut jobs, with, let's say, Dunblane or even Hungerford, and that's something you have to bear in mind, and I think you have to, in a way, be very headstrong to be able to post stuff like that and accept you're going to get some flack, because it will happen. Like, mark my words, if you are active on social media on your personal pages, you will get flack for it. I look at it a completely opposite way, which is I don't necessarily revel in the argument or the flack. I don't want to upset anybody or piss anybody off. But at the end of the day, if you're one of my Facebook friends, if you're on my social media, and you can't stomach the fact that I like to shoot, well, fuck you. I don't care. Like, if you're the one that can't accept somebody else's point of view, if you can't accept somebody taking part in in an upstanding, lawful, widespread, internationally recognized sport, then fuck you. You're the one with the issue. It's not me, and I'm not going to shrivel into a hole and pretend that I'm doing something wrong. Even posting a shooting photo on the day of a terrorist attack, no, sorry, there is no connection whatsoever, right? On that day, should we have all not driven cars because they drove cars to Charlie Hebdo's office, or, you know, drove cars to the Bataclan? No, right? Everyone still goes about doing their lawful business, because we're not terrorists, we're not criminals, and I object to being compared to one. So you got to first of all have that sort of mindset. The other big pitfall, and this is less so internationally, certainly out in the States, or I would imagine there's potentially some examples of it, but in the UK, anything that you put out on social media as a firearms owner or or wanting to be a firearms owner, your social media now will come under great scrutiny. Obviously, for myself, there's a little bit more out there from me on social media, and from the channel and so on and so forth. You're going to have maybe less to worry about if you're just the occasional poster on your Facebook page, or your occasional personal video you put up on YouTube, but the police are going to look into it, and it doesn't even come into posting gun pictures at this point. They are going to look through the history of your posts, and they are going to look for anything that they are going to deem inappropriate. So social media can very much be a curse, and you know, Facebook now has been around for I think I've been on it well over 10 years. So 10 years is a huge period. People change significantly over those sorts of periods, and some things that I was probably saying 10 years ago I would look at now and go, oh, you knobend. It's people change and people adapt, but they will look through 10 years worth of posts to potentially find that one that is going to deem you unsuitable to own a firearm. So you can effectively end up putting your head on a chopping block by posting certain things on social media. Take my word for it. However, there are obviously some positives. There is a much bigger and maybe potentially even more concerning negative, but we talk about the positive, and that is ultimately promotion. The channel, this channel alone, is reaching over 2 million people per month consistently. Like, name me any other media or website or any other outlet that somebody with no experience, with sort of no expertise in marketing. Okay, I've been doing it a long time now and I've gained that experience, but basically to go from nothing to over 2 million people a month, there's no other platform on the world that you can do that. And that is the power of social media. And then when you start combining it, if this channel is reaching over 2 million, Rack and Load is probably 3-4 million a month, and it scales. So between all of these channels, Field Sports Britain, Team Wild, collectively we are reaching tens of millions of people per month. And that is the power of social media when it comes to firearms ownership, in terms of getting the message out there, showing off the sport, trying to get new people into the sport, explaining it. And to me, it makes it all worthwhile because of the numbers game, because you are reaching so many new people and enticing them into this sport. For me, obviously done in the right way, that completely negates any potential negatives. But again, not everyone's going to be running their own channel or Facebook page. This is potentially more of a personal sort of a personal account approach, but still, you know, most people will have a few hundred friends, right? And if you're posting occasionally pictures of shooting, not all of those few hundred friends on Facebook may not know that you shoot, right? I know a lot of people that have worked in places for years and their colleagues don't know they shoot because it just doesn't really come up in conversation, or they maybe, you know, don't think it's appropriate within the workplace. Again, something that I disagree with. I'm very loud and proud, as you can imagine, but they using your personal, even on a small scale, using your personal Facebook page to show that firearms ownership is legal in the UK, to show the fun that shooters can have and the fun that people can have going out and shooting. Well, if everybody watching right now, let's say there's an average of 300 people 300 people per person watching, you know, you're going to be reaching almost 30,000 people. That works out, right? So if you went and posted a picture of yourself now shooting, instantly, there's just from people watching the live stream now that you're going to reach 30,000 people potentially. Again, that's hugely powerful, and because they're going to be acquaintances, because they're going to be close friends, people you know, they're more likely to message or comment and go, hang on a minute, that looks really fun. And whilst I've had friends that have defriended me for posting pictures of guns and so on and so forth, I've equally had a lot of friends go, next time you go down the range, please let me know. I've always wanted to give that a go. And you get them hooked, right? As soon as you get somebody down the range behind a gun pulling that trigger, they're going to get hooked, because shooting is addictive. It should be a class A drug, right? It probably costs more than cocaine. It's more addictive than cocaine, although it's not as dangerous as cocaine. So that, you know, there we go. There's an upside. That's how you sell it to them. Oh, you'll get hooked. You'll be poor. You'll be living out of your car, but you're, you know, it's not dangerous, and you'll have a hell of a smile on your face the whole time. Anyway, so the final, I would say, negative certainly to be aware of, and by no means do I want to put anybody off. You just have to be smart about it. You just have to think, you know, people, we all have opinions, and everyone has strong opinions, and I think using your head of maybe keeping those strong opinions off social media for all of the world to see, and that can potentially be used against you. It's a shame, because I'm a huge believer in free speech, but going and posting a picture of you on a lawful range using your legally held firearms in a safe, controlled environment is not going to get you in trouble with the police. There are obviously certain things around firearms or the politics of firearms that if you start posting about will raise attention, undoubtedly, but please don't be scared of posting pictures of your guns or you shooting on social media. There seems to be this myth that the police are going to revoke licenses just for putting on social media that you have guns. It's absolute bollocks, right? Though I know hundreds and hundreds of people that do it regularly, and they don't have any issues. It's when you stray into the political aspect, it's when you start posting pictures of things that are potentially dangerous or unsafe or could be deemed reckless, that's when you're going to have issues. The other consideration and potential downfall of social media is security, and you also again have to be smart about this. If you start posting pictures that, you know, the front of your house where, you know, your security arrangements and things like that, if you start giving information out there that is going to make it easier for a potential criminal to gain access to your firearms, well, first of all, the police are not going to like that, and second of all, you are going to make yourself a target. But I have a personal sort of rule, which is I won't friend anybody on Facebook that I wouldn't allow into my house, right? And it's not that if any of you have ever sent a friend request to me and I haven't accepted it, it's not because I think you're some, you know, you're dodgy nutter. It's because I probably just don't know you, you know, and I wouldn't necessarily let, you know, obviously there's some circumstances where you have to, you know, guest man or, you know, courier or something like that, but I'm not just going to let strangers into my house. So I don't let strangers onto my personal Facebook feed, and my personal Facebook feed is reasonably locked down, and that offers some level of protection. So it's up to you to decide how far you want to go, but ultimately I think the pros far outweigh the cons. If you're smart about it, we can reach millions of new people and entice millions of new people into the sport, and ultimately that is what's going to grow the sport. That is what is going to protect the sport. And I think everyone watching, if you're a fan or subscriber of this channel, you're going to agree with that. And social media ultimately is a free and great tool for greater promotion. But there we go. There's sort of my thoughts on social media. Regardless of the difficulties that I've had, I'm still here. I'm still doing this. So, you know, I think that's in terms of my perspective and reasoning. The means just the end justifies the means. Whatever that saying is, because whilst it doesn't create an easy journey for me, it doesn't certainly make things any easier for me. I think ultimately meeting you guys, talking to you guys, and introducing new people into the sport makes it more than worth it. And at the end of the day, there's, you know, various sayings of, you know, if you're pissing people off, if people are, you know, telling you know, you're doing something you shouldn't, then actually you're doing something right. You know, if you're creating a stir, if you're challenging the status quo, that's actually good for the progression of something. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs, right? And certainly, I think I talked about this last week or the week before, I feel like I get a lot less flack, because it's almost like there is proof here, there is justification in what we are doing, in terms of reaching new people, and that can't be argued with. And at the end of the day, you may not like the style, you may not like the content, as it were, but it works. So, you know, I think that's the greatest comeback of all, really. But there we go. What are you guys saying? What do you guys think? Are some of you, you know, let me know if you don't post on social media, tell me why. If you do, tell me why. And anything in between. It's again, this is a discussion. You can get involved. You can have your say. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Another thing is, if you ask the average Joe in the UK, they truly believe firearms are illegal. Absolutely, Mike. It's like one of my pet peeves. And again, we want to reach as many people as possible. Mainstream media isn't going to help us, you know. They help us inadvertently. When they come to attack us and they knock on my door, I end up, you know, my track record is turning around the tables and actually using their platform to promote the fact that we have lawful gun owners. So, you know, any mainstream journalists out there, bring it on. Like, you know, it's the like sort of Captain Jack Sparrow, right? It's the, well, you have heard of me, right? As long as people know that there are guns that can be owned legally in the UK and there are shooting sports, you know, all publicity is good publicity, and no, that doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and say stupid things just to get it out there. But, you know, that was my justification with BBC Two and even Sean O'Neill. It's like, even if they're going to write some like heinous article about this sport, it's at least going to get people asking, hang on a minute, I didn't know you could own guns in the UK. And that's what happened. The UK PSA saw like the largest increase in interest they had ever had off the back of the Times articles that were very quite clearly demonizing the sport. And still there were all these thousands of people that went, yeah, but that does look good fun. So, you know, we can use mainstream media. They're just not going to necessarily put it out on a plate or you know, serve it up for us ready. And that's where we can use social media. Look at the likes of Mike Lindsay. You know, he's very effective at using social media and getting messages out there. You know, agree with him or disagree with him, he it is very effective. And again, it gives people with no experience, with, you know, no cash. You know, you can start a YouTube channel for free, and a lot of people go, oh yeah, but you need all this gear. And no, you don't, right? I started it with my smartphone, right? I started it with an iPhone. If you're watching this, you have a device that you can start a YouTube channel with, right? It's as simple as that. And we can all be posting, we can all be trying to get the message out there, and using it to good. How is the pick of you shooting a Desert Eagle different than you shooting an over and under shotgun? One's a handgun. I don't know really what you're saying. Well, in terms of like, would it have been better if I'd have posted a picture of shooting an over and under rather than a Desert Eagle? But people see gun, right? They see a gun and it's like, ooh, they don't care. You know, a bullet comes out at the end of it. It's a gun. Doesn't matter if it's being used by a terrorist or a law-abiding shooter. It's the same thing to most people. Pro gunners have banned and defriended me, so that goes both ways. Terrible. Stephen, I have emailed you and discussed with you why that might be the case. You know, I did say that's probably what was going to be happening, taking the lines that you've taken with people. This is why all my social media is under a fake name. I don't think they are going to look up Thickcock 45 on a background check. You'd be surprised. They know. Checking people's media backgrounds is a huge business for potential employers. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even, you know, I guess that's another potential that you got to worry about in some way, in terms of someone said I got the date wrong. I didn't change the month, did I? 1 minute. I just fixed that. It's because I've reused the settings from the last one, and that one was in May. There we go. Refresh your page. The title will be right now. Yeah, I mean, that's another consideration. Perhaps, you know, if you're posting pictures on social media and you go to a potential employer and they are anti-gun, it's not going to look so good for you. Again, my stance would be, fuck you. If you can't accept that I'm going to take part in a legally and internationally recognized sport, if you can't understand that and you can't take that on board, I don't think I'm going to fit in with your company, right? And what was it? The root cause? It was certainly a big factor in the job that I left to sort of, you know, work in the industry full time. There was always a bit of friction with the fact that I was into my guns, right? That I don't think was the biggest problem. It was more the channel and how outward I was with it and how public I was with it. Yeah, there were major talks after the whole BBC Two thing. That's what they were more concerned with. But I was like, look, this is what I want to do. I want to be promoting the sport. You know, would it be different if I was promoting table tennis? And they're like, well, yeah, because it doesn't involve guns. And I was like, yeah, you just don't get it, right? These are tools. Yeah, but they're tools to kill. All right, I'll start a knife channel then. Right? Would that be better? You know, and it was this, you know, there were some staunch anti-gunners there, to the point where one of the directors actually said, you know, when a gun comes on the TV at home, you know, I point to it and go, what's that? And, you know, and with great pride, he said, my child goes, that's a bad thing. And I'm like, oh, you fucking idiot. Like, and these were smart people, right? They're engineers, highly qualified, highly educated. And I was like, it's just like, I would expect more. You know, it's like, whatever, each their own. You can teach your kids what to do. You know, you can teach your kids what you want to teach them, right? If they are going to grow up misinformed and uneducated and a bit sheltered, that's going to be your problem at the end of the day, not mine. So moving on. It's not the first time Callum has gone backwards in time. Yes, I'm a seasoned time traveler. Hey Callum, just purchased a Russian SKS. Did you ever own one when they were legal in the UK? No, I did not. Congrats on the new gun. They are coming for everybody in every way. In every way? Should I have the rubber gloves ready? Because that just sounds like a good night in, to be honest. I believe gun owners in the UK are extremely responsible. I would highly agree. At the end of the day, to be able to get an FAC for sport, you need to complete a probational period at a Home Office approved club. The club themselves are putting their neck on the line by supporting your application. They're not just going to sign off any knob end, right? They're not just, he's all right, you know, just, no, you need to prove yourself. And this is, you get into discussions of the UK versus the US. That's maybe one thing that I think could work all round, right? Having not necessarily a barrier, because as soon as you put any barrier, then it's infringement, right? But having some sort of facility to allow, training and education. And I think that's why it works very well in the UK. You're not just let loose. It's not like you just turn 18 and you can go and buy a gun here and you can just go down a public range, right? People, it's not. Whilst some people may argue that it is a natural born right to own a firearm, it's certainly not a natural talent that is sort of bestowed on you from birth, right? You have to learn how to shoot a gun. You have to learn to be proficient and competent with a firearm, and most importantly safe. And that's why I think the UK has some of the best all-round shooters, certainly the sort of safest shooters out there, because you have to jump through so many hoops, because you have to serve probational memberships, and you're constantly being monitored. If you turn up one day to a range and you are just outright dangerous, first of all, you're not going to be shooting there for very long, and second of all, the police are going to be informed pretty quickly. If people genuinely have a fear that somebody is a danger to themselves or others with possessing a firearm, the police will eventually find out one way or the other. It's not like Callum has ever posted a video, say, shooting from a moving car. Absolutely not. I'd never do something like that unless it was in a closed environment, supervised by professionals. Yeah, proper stuntman I am. So I'm getting a bit late on the Jungle Juice tonight. I am on the Beaver Town. Love me a good bit of beaver. Neck oil. It's only a 4.3, so quite a light one. It won't get, hopefully, too spicy on the stream this evening. May I ask how you lost your firearms? Sorry to hear it. So it's many different aspects over many different times. I had a false allegation made against me, false allegation of assault. That led to me being arrested. That triggered the whole revocation. No further action was taken on the allegation, but because of the content and views and opinions that I was putting out at the time on the channel, mainly around the Paris attacks late November 2015, that is why they revoked them, and that's why I was unsuccessful in the appeal after that. And then I reapplied 3 years ago now, and then they said that my channel was a forum of extremism, thanks to everyone that comments on it, so thanks guys. They said that ultimately I'm responsible for the content that is being posted on the channel, and I was like, well yeah, because it's me uploading the videos, like of course I'm responsible. And they're like, no, you're responsible for the comments. And I was like, but YouTube's an open platform, like I literally have no control over that. And they were like, well, you could turn the comments off. And I was like, no. Well, then you're responsible for the comments on there. I was like, I'm sorry, like over the last 2 years, I've had 20,000 comments, and I run this channel myself. Well, at the time, I was running the channel myself. I was like, that's slightly unreasonable for me to go and vet literally thousands of comments to look for potential extremist ones. Well, again, it's still down to you. Okay, then. It's, yeah, needless to say, I felt goalposts were being moved. So ultimately, the reason that I don't have licenses today is because of the channel, is because of the content, and because of comments posted on it. However, I have spent the last 3 years sifting through official police channels, even 10 Downing Street's official channel, the Home Office official channel. I think even like people like Amber Rudd, Facebook, like, Hampshire Constabulary's Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I've catalogued quite a good directory of pretty sickening and extreme comments. So I'm sure at some point there will be the opportunity to reopen that discussion of how organizations or individuals are seemingly responsible for comments made by other people on open platforms. And I would love to see the answer that various constabularies have for the various comments that I have screenshotted. Far more extreme, far more disgusting, racially or racist comments, promotion, the advocacy of violence, of killing people in certain situations. So that one I think may shift. The goalposts may realign with what I think most people find acceptable, which is if you have a channel that is generating tens of thousands of comments, a few extreme ones are going to get through there. That doesn't represent my views, that doesn't represent the channel's views. That is some nutter using an open platform to propagate their nutters' views. What I have done, though, admittedly, is I do have a very strict sort of censor. Like, you put in certain keywords, and any sentences or any comments that use those phrases will automatically be held. So I do get accused of a fair amount of censoring people on the channel. Like, look, if you come on and say something utterly ridiculous, then it is just going to get binned, right? If I look at it and I go, fucking hell, like, that is just a bit out there, it will get removed. But most of the time, if your comment doesn't actually make it through, it's probably because the keyword, the keyword, and I'm not going to show it because instant YouTube trouble for even showing some of these words. But unfortunately, there are some more, in a way, mundane words that have got that I have to have certain restrictions on, and I'm trying to find them so I can sort of show you here we go. So, like, swear words, I don't care. Like, I will I swear, obviously. Like, if you watch the streams, you know that I'm not averse to a few swear words here and there. But it's things like police. So if you put police in any of the comments, it will automatically get held, because whilst you may be having a pretty normal conversation and the police may be in there, the sort of comments that really raise the hairs on the police and firearms licensing usually involve the word police. Government as well, that is a word that will get your comment held on the channel, unfortunately. And again, these are specifically from comments that they've shown me, and it's like, right, I just can't have anything like that on there, so I do take on board what they say. To a certain extent, I still think being responsible for the tens of thousands of comments that is getting put on the channel is maybe a step too far, because certainly I don't hold them responsible for the comments that are on their channels, and their channels are far worse. Things like bomb, Islam, ISIS, revolution, the amount of people that say, like, oh, you guys in the UK should have a revolution and take up arms, and it's like, that's not what this channel's about, right? Again, people are entitled to their opinion. People are entitled to voice their opinions. This is about promoting and sharing shooting sports, right? Ultimately, and talking about uprisings and revolutions. I don't think that's the best way forward for us at the moment. So yeah, that's just an idea. Go away, fly. Go away. That's just an idea. So, I did take on board what they said. I was like, maybe I could put some more filters in there. But yeah, ultimately being responsible for every single comment. And that's why comments are available on the video still, because, I keep a close eye on it as much as I can, but the filter does seem to do a reasonable, good job. Anyway. Hi Callum, have you got a timeline for getting your FAC back? I know there's delays at the moment. No, unfortunately, it's very, I tell people all the time, and I know how frustrating it is when I say, look, it's a how long's a piece of string question. But I know that as well as anybody, and I can't put a time frame on it. What you could do is, maybe it might hurt, maybe not, maybe pro. If obviously a lot of you guys are quite concerned, and I'm very flattered by it. I appreciate the interest in what's going on with my FAC. I have been told many a time by Hampshire Firearms Licensing that they do receive complaints regarding the channel. And when I try to break it down to them and say, the channel's reaching millions of people a month, you know, statistically speaking, a couple of complaints here and there aren't really that significant, and they don't seem to understand that. But maybe we could flip the tables. Maybe if you believe that the channel is, you believe myself and the channel are representative in some way of UK shooting sports, and are a good representative, and that you are dismayed at why I seemingly don't have, or why I'm seemingly unfit to have a firearms license, maybe you could take 5 minutes and email Hampshire Firearms Licensing and maybe give a recommendation on my behalf. Just, you know, no one will get rewarded for doing it. You know, I'm not incentivizing it. If you off your own back want to do it, I'm not going to say no. Hey Callum, what's for dinner? I don't know. What is for dinner? I had chicken, actually. Have I left my plate in the background or something? Like, why are you talking about dinner? Do I have something in my bed? Like, that's probably the most the most likely outcome. It was chicken, basically. Yeah, it was that's sort of overly simplifying it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was bloody good. I was quite hungry after the busy day today, and it hit the spot. You're not allowed guns because you like knives. Like, did they come to that conclusion like 3 o'clock in the morning or something? Or if he likes knives, it's weird that he would like guns, so no. Like, what? So, like, I'm fucked then. Right? They won't let me own guns, so I had to find another collect. Well, I'm fucked. You're not allowed guns because you like knives. What the fuck? Like, I did hear he does actually join. I'm not going to name names because I'm sure he doesn't want it out there, but I will vaguely touch on it. There is somebody that watches, and if you are watching, you're going to know who you are. Hi, thanks for joining, thanks for sticking around. But there was somebody that got refused their license because the police said that they had a fascination with like impersonating police. And I was like, oh, okay, right, there could be some merit to that, right? So, you know, why? Well, my father was a police officer, and I have some of his old policing artifacts, like his old truncheon and hat and equipment and stuff like that, and that's on display at home. And I was like, that seems pretty normal to me. And the other reason that they accused him of having this fascination around police and trying to impersonate them is because he drove a Skoda Octavia VRS, right? Which anyone outside of the UK isn't. Well, I'll just bring it up. I'm sure there's a picture. Let's go. Police Octavia VRS. It's a known police car, right? It's a known undercover police car. And I'll try and find. Let's bring it up. So for any international viewers, although anyone from Europe will probably know what a Skoda VRS is. So that's a bit funky. Although it's Belgium. There we go. So like that's like the ones around here in Hampshire are usually blue, but you do get them silver. But you can get the general drift, right? It's a car. It's a car that if you're driving along and it pulls up behind you, you're gonna look quite closely at the grille, right? You're just gonna. It's just one of those ones. It's like the 3 Series BMWs or 5 Series BMWs here in the UK. Like they're just really commonly used for undercover. And he happens to drive an Octavia VRS. And apparently that was enough for him to be accused of impersonating police. He also had a gun tattoo. And personally, it's something that I have thought about. I just can't think. I don't want a gun tattoo. I want something like a little bit more subtle, like people who know. So you know, I still just haven't got the design. You know, I've thought maybe about the bolt carrier, face, but so many people have those. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, he's got a gun tattoo, and apparently again that went against him. for, you know, obsession with firearms. And you're like, but to go through all these hoops, you must have some level of obsession about firearms. It's like getting an FAC in the UK is not easy, right? It's fairly straightforward, but it's not, you know, there's a lot of waiting around, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of hoops, right? That shouldn't put anybody off. You can get through it. EnglishShooting.org. Check out the guides, right? It will talk you through them. It's just about a bit of time and a bit of reading, right? But you have to be fairly passionate about shooting to go through those processes. It's not like, oh, you know, I'm just going to go, you know, like some people wake up and go, oh, I fancy taking up tennis today. Like, I'm just going to go and buy a tennis racket. You don't get into shooting like that in the UK. You have to have some passion. You have to have some drive. So, yeah, like, I think it's not necessarily normal, but people that are in this sport, and certainly that have been in this sport for a very long time, they are going to be very passionate about it. They are like, and you know, tattoos is the ultimate expression of passion. You know, at the end of the day, I've basically, you know, now dedicated, you know, significant years of my life to shooting sports. You know, I do it full time as a job. When I come home in the evening on a Thursday, I live stream. When I'm, you know, on a Sunday, I'm filming a video. On a Monday evening, I'm editing it. On usually Tuesday, this shifts depending on how busy I am. But you know, I spend a lot of evenings around shooting in some form, either, you know, putting time into it or energy into it because I'm passionate about it. So yes, I mean, you're not allowed guns because you like knives, but it's unfortunately the rules are very grey on it. The rules are very, it leaves a lot to interpretation. If the police feel there is a potential concern for any reason, they're allowed to act upon it, or more annoyingly, not act on issuing your licenses. Super Taz 100, completely agree. We have nearly double the amount of people watching than we do liking the video. Hit the like button, it really does help. If you're all about sharing the sport, if you're all about getting new people into the sport, then help me reach new people, help attract new people to the channel so that we can introduce new people to this sport, make them aware about firearms ownership in the UK and shooting sports. And that's all down to analytics. That's down to sharing, liking, subscribing, commenting, engaging with this content, and it all helps, and I'm very, very appreciative of it. I have a couple of tattoos of Templar Knights. Would that keep me from owning guns in the UK? I'm not like completely au fait with the Templar Knights, but they could see that in some way as, you know, not necessarily extremist, but I think someone says to me Templar Knights, like, I know what you mean, but there are some negative associations, right? And it depends what the police, which sort of direction they want to take that association with, maybe the historic association or the, you know, not so good associations. It could do. Like, I don't know. Likes are bouncing up. Thank you very much. Yep, it's free. Like, it doesn't bite. You hit the thumbs up button. It just makes me smile in my pants. 1 like equals 1 quad load. If I had a gun to quad load with, I would 100% do that. You collect a Scotsman. I collect knives, airsoft, and crossbows. They use this as part of the reason to refuse me an AWC. Absolutely. Again, like, getting into shooting sports, it's outdoorsy. Like, if you're into outdoors, if you're into shooting, you're most likely going to have owned an airsoft gun or a crossbow. If you're like, it's all target sports, and knives and guns, they go together, right? They just, it's just the perfect pairing. Like, that's why you go to a gun show, there will be knife stands, right? It's like 100%. There is such a good association there. I've got a skull tattoo. Hope they don't take it from me. Pound of flesh as well. To be honest, I'm surprised anyone outside the Arestos could get an FAC. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have money and connections, it helps in some way. does that mean strippers can't apply for an FAC? Shit. I just want to know where they're going to conceal it. Hi Callum, I'm putting in for my firearms license to FA licensing department 2. I've watched your videos on applying for an FAC, but what are the do's and don'ts when you apply? The do's and don'ts when you apply. So, I mean, if you've watched the videos in terms of filling out the application form and all that, that's pretty straightforward. Like, you can't really go wrong. So I'm going to assume let's just focus it on the interview. Although there is a video on the interview, but the do's and don'ts is don't come across like a nutter, right? You know, you want the guns for a legitimate purpose. That's what you want them for. Don't stray from that. Right? If the FEO wants to get really tricky and goes, you know, what would you do if somebody broke into your house? I'd dial 999. You know, would you ever use the gun in self-defense? I don't plan on, no. You know, and again, even on I don't plan on. Oh, so you would? I don't know. I've never thought about that. That's not why I want the gun. I want the gun for sport shooting. Yeah, but would you use it? Would you use it for self-defense? I don't plan on. It's like they can get really tricky on those sorts of things. You know, and just it's like I've said this before. My first interview, you know, 10 steps into the house, he looks up the garden, sees chickens, and goes, "Is that why you want the shotgun?" I was like, "No, I like the chickens." And no, for foxes. But why would I be shooting foxes in the garden with a 12 gauge? Correct answer. It's, you know, they will try and, you know, take your time. So the don'ts really is don't rush it, right? Take your time and think about everything, whether that's filling out the form, answering a question on the form, or answering a question in real life. You're not under a timer. You know, they are in a way trying to trick, you know, they will put a few trick questions in there, but you want it for a legitimate reason. You know what reason you want it, and just stick to that. You know, don't try and fall for any of the, you know, if they go, "Oh, do you want it for foxes?" and you go, "Oh, yeah, actually," you know, you can sort of see where they're gonna try and trip you up. Do absolutely have some biscuits. The more variety, the better. FEOs love biscuits. Offer them a tea, offer them a coffee. Like, just pretend it's a friend coming round for a chat, right? Be relaxed about it. Don't get all uptight. If you're, you know, sat there like fucking wired, they're gonna get an iffy feeling from you, right? They're just doing their job. Yes, their job in some ways to try and trip you up and try and catch you out, but at the end of the day, they can only catch you out if you're trying to do something dodgy, if you don't have a legitimate reason. If you are 100% legitimate, there is nothing to worry about. You know, make sure the place is tidy. You know, it's all about first impressions. You know, make sure that you know, don't put on a tux or a suit or anything, but likewise, don't look like an absolute scruff bag, because it's going to be their first impression of you. You know, make sure the house is tidy. You know, have the safes ready to inspect. The best thing to do, and a potential sort of trip up, or potential, like, you know, them trying to catch you out, to remove this potential, have the safes open and have the keys hidden, right? Because the location that you store your keys, who knows where your keys are some of the most frequent ways that an FEO will trip you up. Because if you tell them where your keys are, well, they're not meant to know, right? They are not going to be the ones with the license for those firearms, and they not, you know, apart from being, you know, police staff, they don't have authority to possess those firearms, right? So your FEO isn't meant to know where your keys are. The FEO is only meant to know, like, the foundational security elements. So you don't tell them what the code is to the alarm. You don't tell them about the sort of the nuts and bolts of it. It is like, look, I've got cameras here and here. I've got an alarm system with sensors here and here. Here is the safe. Please have a look at it. Have the safe open, you know, like, have the keys well hidden and out the way. They don't need to see the keys. They don't need to know where they are. And it's just better that if everything's already open and you've hidden the keys, there's no potential. And if they need to see the keys, or if you forget to open them up beforehand, if you need to go and grab them, go and ask the FEO to stand outside the room for a second, right? That is perfectly reasonable, because they are not meant to know where they are, and that will actually show how serious you are taking the security of these firearms. You know, that will actually be a big tick in the box for them, because they're like, well, hang on, yep, fair enough, he's taking this seriously. Yeah, and just, you know, be an upstanding member of society. That's all you need to do. Sort of sounds easier than it is. Hey Callum, just been watching English shooting for a couple of years now. Thank you very much. You yourself definitely got me into shooting. Awesome to hear. That's what it's all about. Although I haven't joined a club yet. Why not? You were doing so well. I was liking this comment. I hope to do so soon. Why are you waiting? Send an email, get yourself into a club, get down there, join it, start shooting. Like, if you've been watching this, like this, you know, you watching this channel must be like a massive cock tease. Not like that. Like, stop watching us shoot. Stop watching me shoot. Get down there and do it yourself. Join if, like, I want you here next week, and we'll be 7:30, hopefully no more house viewings, please, no more house viewings, fuck's sake. Come to the live stream next week, and I want to hear that you've got your first meet at the club. That's your task, should you accept it or not. In my experience, most of the time the firearms officers aren't trying to trip you up. They will dig deeper if they feel it's warranted. You can look at that two ways. Like, if they're digging deeper, they're trying to find something, you know, they're having a bit of a rummage. What about offering a martini to your FEO, shaken not stirred? As long as you're not going to be handling firearms, get on it. Michael, I was in my PJs when my FEO came round. They love custard creams, and yes, they dunk. Fair play. Would be nice when we could spike the FEO's drink to make them susceptible. I don't like where this is going. Definitely don't spike your FEO's drinks. That's not going to end well. Definitely not for them, but definitely not for you. You told your firearms officer, I want to wait downstairs whilst I get the keys to open up the safe. Perfect. Yeah, I'm sure they loved that. Don't keep your ammo box and gun safe keys together. That's a very good point. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a requirement, but it is good thinking, because obviously it's about trying to keep them both separate. This could be better explained. The FEO is more than entitled to know the manner in which you will store the keys to satisfy themselves it is secure and safe. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. They don't need to know. 100%. Like, it's not about safe storage of the keys, it's about safe storage of the guns. That's all they're interested in. It's about the safe, what degree of safe you have, is it properly installed, right? You could keep your keys on your house keychain for all they care. As long as nobody else has access to those keys, they don't care, right? You could keep them tucked in a sock drawer. You could, you know, put them in another wall safe somewhere. You could have them downstairs in a kitchen, you know, your man drawer in the kitchen, right? Your FEO should not know where your keys are. 100%. That is, that's just always been personally my understanding of it. I'm happy to be corrected, but I don't think that is the case. If the FEO asks how or where you store your keys, you tell them that's none of their business, right? That is for you to know, and for you to know only. Yes, if they walk in and they see your safe keys just there on the coffee table and they go, is that where you keep them? And you go, yeah. Bit silly, right? But the FEO does not have lawful authority to know where your safe keys are. Because at the end of the day, like, police officers and police staff can be corrupt, right? So if they know where your keys are, what's to stop them from telling Shady Bob where your keys are, and Shady Bob breaks into your house, goes straight to your keys and gets the safe, right? I know that sounds pretty bizarre. That's a pretty far out there scenario, but you know, Shady Bob is pretty sneaky. He's pretty shady, right? That's why he's called Shady Bob. You know, he might, you know, butter up an FEO, find an FEO in, you know, financial difficulties. Like, the FEO should not know where your keys are. Like, period. That's my take on it. If you want to tell your FEO where your keys are, be my guest. I just don't think it's going to work. John, been watching your channel since the beginning of the year. A bit of an eye-opener. Had my first intro to my local club. Awesome, great to hear, and thank you for sticking around this long. Not many people do. Are keyless safes fine? Electronic locks? Yes. No, I'm still not comfortable talking about my safes. I do have an open application out. I'm not going to start giving details out of my security arrangements, but I know plenty of people that have electronic keypad safes. They are fine. As long as they are to sort of police standards, you won't have an issue. Just asking for a friend. It always goes well after the opening of that on any sentence. Can they test for substance abuse? Oh, how did I know? The last thing anybody wants is Dangerous Dave nipping down the local Tesco Express for a bag and some glue. I mean, yeah. So, can they test for substance abuse? Personally, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of a firearms licensing asking for drug tests. If they suspect or if there is evidence of substance abuse or any abuse, and like of any form, any addiction, any physical or mental abuse, you get the picture, right? That's going to look badly on you. If you're, if they come round and there's like umpteen different empty glue bottles and your nostrils are stuck together, they're probably not going to give you your FAC. If they go to your bathroom and there's white powder all over the basin, probably going to ask a few questions. If it goes in there and smells herby, it's they are going to start asking the questions. I've never heard of like any sort of substance tests being done, but yes, if there is evidence to substance abuse or illegal substance use, that will be a no for a certificate. I'm thinking about starting a range in the southeast, and there's not much mini rifle down here. How much are you going to be left out of pocket? You're actually going to find you're going to be quite in pocket. Like running a commercial range, in all honesty, is a license to print money. There is, it's simple economics. It's simple supply and demand, right? There is a greater demand than there is supply. Therefore, anybody that becomes a supplier is going to have a flourish of customers to keep it opening. I mean, look, despite my best efforts, Silverstone Shooting Centre is still running, and seems, for all intents and purposes, to be quite profitable. So it's like I've not heard of a range in the UK being shut down because it was unprofitable, or it wasn't making money, right? It's usually, people retire, people they've had enough of running the range, they noise complaints or other, say, legal difficulties of that ilk. But I am not aware of a single range in the UK that is not profitable, right? Because so many people want to be shooting. Ranges are far, are too sparse, right? The Phoenix shooting range up in Barnsley, highly profitable. Like Glenn is actually quite open about how profitable the range is. He's already, I mean, when I first met him a few years ago, he was already thinking of a second site at that point. Is double juices. profitable range. You know, they're constantly reinvesting, they're constantly busy. Silverstone Shooting Centre, you know, their membership has grown. The range is in constant use. You know, clay pigeon, like I've never heard of all the clay pigeon all the clay pigeon grounds, or clay grounds that were around when I first started shooting are still around today, right? They're actually quite stable businesses if obviously run correctly. What other ranges are there? Bisley is sort of an odd example. I mean, it would be profitable if it wasn't so corrupt. Allegedly, just get that in there. Allegedly, there have been allegations, or they weren't. Actually, I can say that because it's fact. Bisley would be a lot more profitable if it wasn't suing its tenants into the ground and spending copious hundreds of thousands of pounds on litigation and legal cases. But anyway, let's ignore Bisley. I try. What other ranges? I mean, Shield is the only range that I'm aware that has closed. Like in the time that I've been shooting, and that was purely because the guy retired, right? I unfortunately never had a chance to go down there, but he just wanted to retire, and he ended up, it was like a massive farm, and the range was one part of the farm, and he couldn't sell the farm separately to the range, because you could imagine that during a viewing, right? Oh, lovely, idyllic, you know, farm. What's that over there? That's the shooting range. Oh, it comes with a shooting range. No, the shooting range staying, and it's going to be right next door to your house. It's not going to be a big sell. So either the whole site needed to be bought, and I think it was 2-3 million, or yeah, he was never going to sell the farmhouse without selling the range. So unfortunately, that wasn't, you know, it was sort of down to money, but certainly wasn't down to the place being profitable or unprofitable. But Richard, if you want any guidance, assistance, promotion, like, I'm all about new range. The more ranges there are, the easier it is for people to shoot. So you know, hit me up, EnglishShooting@gmail.com if you want to discuss further, if you want to, you know, anything you want, you know, let me know, and I'll do my best as well. You know, inadvertently you get the advice and guidance of Connors as well. If you know, if I get a question through an English Shooting that I can't answer, I'll ping it off, or, you know, bounce it off Connors. You know, he's a UK PSA instructor. He's actually the rep for the Southeast for the UK PSA, so probably somebody that you want to get in contact with anyway. But very, very knowledgeable. You know, he's helped a few clubs with their ranges over the last couple of years. How much would it cost to set up a range? How long is a piece of string? Like, you know, if you want to build Bisley, you're talking tens of millions, right? If you want to build Silverstone, so here's the funny thing about Silverstone. I think Silverstone was built at relatively, from what I've heard, sort of a net zero, because places will pay, like builders and excavating companies will pay to have dirt dumped, so you can actually be paid to build a range, right? Instead of digging down, if you build up and you get lorry, you know, it's something like, I think it was like £100 a lorry full of dirt, something like that. Well, it takes a number of lorries to do it, right? So you get effectively thousands of pounds in building the berms of your range, that you're getting paid, right? So then you actually have the money to go and build infrastructure. So it's, you know, if you want to build a single bay in a field, it's going to be a few £100, maybe a couple of thousand. If you want to build, you know, another Bisley or maybe the NSRA, you're going to be talking, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds. And I guess the most recent one is Yevley. So Yevley was, I was going to talk about this because we obviously were there at the weekend. It was a fantastic shoot again. Let me bring up the video actually of Yevley, and then I can sort of show you directly. So let's bring this up. Get the video up, 2 secs. Theatre mode, there we go. Yes, we all know what we're watching, all right? There we go, here's the range, right? So the construct of this range, right? It's so this outer berm, right? If you can see, follow the mouse. This outer berm here was pretty much already there, and you can see they've cut here. So right down this bit here is the opening. So this used to be all one bank, and I actually shot here with Neil from Rack and Load a few times. And this whole ground here, the height of this ground, as far as I'm aware, hasn't changed, or very slightly has changed, but it used to be this just big pit, right? But they've built up the berm, so I think they've scraped off some soil, they've built up these berms slightly, they've obviously built all these berms, but the general structure was there. I believe it was something like 20 or 30,000 pounds in diesel alone to do this, right? And the main structure, the outer wall, was predominantly already built, but building these berms a little higher, putting these internal berms in, just the diesel alone was like 20,000-30,000 pounds. So that may give you some sort of idea of the potential cost, because you're running that sort of machinery is not cheap, unfortunately. So that is probably where you're going to find your biggest cost. Again, unless you're paying companies to dump it, and they dump it in roughly the right place, and then you just need a digger maybe to just compact it or move it around slightly. But yeah, like excavating a whole area and building stuff up yourself, that's going to be expensive, firstly in the rental of the digger, and then also the diesel. Are there any specific licenses you need to open a shooting ground? No, if obviously there's Home Office approved clubs, so if you want a club there and you want people to come and join that club, you need to be Home Office approved. So that's technically a license, because the club gets its own firearm certificate. So it will need that. But in terms of actually building a range, no. It's become like this myth in some ways. I mean, Eskdale is one to, like, I was talking to the guy messaged me today, I haven't had a chance to get back to him yet. They had some issues with the police where the police wanted them to do an assessment of the range, but pretty much if you build a range to NRA or MOD standards, the police can't really say anything, right? Because you go, well, it conforms to MOD and NRA standards, so go and shut them down if you think this is dangerous. The firearms licensing is not there to sign off on ranges, right? Firearms licensing is there to look over the licensing of firearms and to make sure that people are shooting within the conditions of their firearms. The police in general have to look at public safety. So if your range is deemed to pose a risk to the public, it becomes more of a health and safety issue, and then they can potentially step in. But if you've got private land, if the range is built to NRA or MOD specifications, they can't really do much. And no, you don't need a specific license just to build your own range. It's more about the firearms that are then going to be used on there, whether people have the right conditions on their ticket to be able to shoot on your range, and more importantly, if you have the right conditions to be able to shoot on your own range. Paulo, thank you. I'll stop trying to butcher your name. I appreciate that. Amazing content, brother. Keep up the amazing work, and go get some cans for you and the rest of the lads. I really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. I do already have a can, but maybe I'll put your name on this one. I'll take a drink. But no, greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and for your kind words. It will be on a farm, Callum. I know a fair few farmers with diggers. Sounds good. It sounds like you've got sort of the perfect recipe here. But yeah, again, if you want any, you want to talk further, then yeah, drop me an email. Stephen Mays, how do you avoid corrupt FEOs? How do I seek out only friendly FEOs? It's sort of luck of the draw, really. Some FEOs, just like anyone, people are greatly different, right? Everyone's different. Some FEOs are absolutely golden. Some are horrendous, right? And they're horrendous. You can get FEOs that are horrendous for many different reasons. Horrendous as in they are constantly trying to fuck you up, right? I know a couple. Or you've got FEOs that don't know their arse from their elbow. Unfortunately, I know a couple, and those, it's like, in terms of avoiding a corrupt FEO, you don't really avoid them because you have to deal with them. But the moment that you have some tangible evidence that they are acting outside of the law, whether they are not acting professionally towards you, maybe there is bias, maybe their own professionalism has been called into question. If you have tangible evidence of that, then go to the head of that firearms licensing department and say, I cannot trust this FEO to fulfill their duties professionally and fairly because of this reason, and show them and say, I would prefer a different FEO at this point. Like, that's not unreasonable. If you feel somebody is being biased and is not going to administer the process correctly and fairly, and you have evidence of that, then request a different FEO. Andy, your FEO is also shooter. Those are the best ones, right? Those are by far the best ones because they know what you're talking about. They get it. But also, you can't pull the wool over their eyes, right? If you say, yeah, I want 10 308s for all of the different 308 disciplines out there, and they're going to go, come on, tell me what disciplines. You know, it's very hard to blag an FEO as it is, but if they're a shooter and they've actually got like their wits about them with guns, you're not going to get anything past them. But usually it more works in your favor, because when you know, if you're shooting practical and they go, no, I only want you to have 500 rounds or 1,000 rounds or 2.2, and you go, you know, I'll do that in a single session, and they go, oh yeah, practical shooting, yep, they go, okay, 5,000, right? Because they go, actually that's more reasonable, they understand the sport better. Never pay for dirt. Companies will provide the equipment, manpower, and even pay per load to tip. Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Norman. I mean, they're not necessarily going to pay for the range to be built in terms of the diggers, but they will most definitely pay you to come and dump some you know, dump and tip some soil on your land. And just a quick segue, because I kept promising you more swag. But not swagger, I give enough of that. But there is some new swag available on EnglishShooting.org. There is also more coming. I have a phone call booked with a potential supplier of more patches and t-shirts tomorrow, so I'm hoping for that to come out. But English Shooting now has its own sticker. It's only taken me like 6 fucking years. So these are on the website, and it's not just any sticker. This is an official ES by Sticky Bolt. So if those of you that don't know what Sticky Bolt is, where have you been living under a rock? They send me goodies. Sticky Bolt do all of these amazing stickers. You should just go and check them out. Anyway, they do amazing designs. They have a little bit of humor as well, which helps. You gotta love the shiny ones, right? So this is the stuff that Sticky Bolt's more known for, but they will do custom. I love that one. That's a favorite of one, and I think this is probably my favorite in the whole of the pack. Most recent pack is the Scorpion. So if you're after your own custom stickers, your custom designs, you don't necessarily have to go as plain and boring as I did with just that, but I want to be able to give these out, put them on my stuff, and they are available on the website. And if you're wondering where you can get this absolutely stunning cap, you can get it from the website as well. So if you want to support the channel, obviously everything goes back into the channel. I just don't pocket it and I buy more equipment, or it pays for more shooting. So you can go on to EnglishShooting.org. Yes, because of how busy I've been, I haven't got an actual picture of the stickers, but this is actually the render from Sticky Bolt, so that's what it is. And you can get patches and caps and magload stuff. So yes, there will be some more magload stuff going on there, because I also have some more stickers to show you. And just as well, just as it's taken far too long to get just a plain English Shooting sticker, it's taken us far too long to get the just plain magload sticker. So these will be finding their ways into orders from magload.co.uk. It's not 100% yet, but our plan is to include stickers with every order from now on, pretty much, and you will also be able to buy them. And we're not entirely sure yet. I need to sort of check with Connors with this. These are either going to be available to buy, or they will only be given out with like special orders, right? If i.e. like big orders as like a special thank you from our guys, is the limited edition shiny holographic magload. I love gold. So these just came through the other day. We love stickers. Like we like them ourselves, and we like gawping over all of the sticky bolt stickers all the time, and we're slowly building a collection of our own stickers. I do want to speak to Sticky Bolt about maybe getting some more funny stickers, like, you know, like they play around with their designs, but the English shooting sticker is now available. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, go and check it out, EnglishShooting.org. ES, educationally subnormal. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up right there. I would get a cap, but it has the nipple on the top, which is hell with over ears. Well, that's why you should be wearing custom fit guards. I genuinely, like, I do have a pair. My range bag is actually right there, but I'm not going to jinx it, because I'll say like all my ear pros in there and I'll go and get it and then won't be there. Anyway, my go-to pair of, like, I much prefer personally in-ears to over-ears. I have a pair of the Sport Tac, the 3M Sport Tacs, or whatever they're called. They are great, you know, and there will be the occasional video you'll see me wearing them, but literally 99% of the time I wear in-ears. And the best in-ears that I found are custom fit guards. Yes, I've been plugging those guys for years. Yes, they give me free in-ears, but I wouldn't, you know, it's my hearing, right? I wouldn't be using them if I didn't think they were doing the job. And the amount of time I spend with in-ears they are the most comfortable that I've experienced. .org charity case. Potentially, like the only real like usable domain name was .org with English Shooting. So unless somebody wants to buy EnglishShooting.com for me, that would be amazing, or even .co.uk. I'm not fussy. Has the face made its way onto the car yet? No, because no one's that brave. I mean, I am a certified danger to the public. Cheesecake went to custom fit guards yesterday. Awesome. Should only be a week or two till they come through the door. Let me know how you get on with those. You have custom fit guards but prefer over ears. Well, you are from Wales, so you know we'll let that one slide. Nice guys. The reason you have the over ears is to like muffle out the screams of the sheep, right, Dan? That is why. I did mention I found them through you. Awesome. Did you get a discount? Usually guys get a discount if they mention English Shooting. I like to hope so anyway. Looking at a Tippmann M422 Elite L fluted. Would you recommend this over a Chris or a Lantac? I can do it. We're just buy the Lantac. There we go. I said it. The Tippmann isn't a bad gun. In my humble opinion, it's just not a very... It's not even that it's like... It's not a great gun. Just there are better ones out there. Like personally, the LA SF15 from Lantac, that is a far better gun, right? Or speak to Otto at Cotswold Classic Arms, right? Because if you're looking at Tippmanns and you're looking at the Elite L fluted, you know, what are they like? 1,200 quid? 1,000, 1,200 quid? I don't know. I don't stay up to date on like current prices of Tippmanns. But yeah, I think you're looking north of £1,000, right? If you go to Otto at Cotswold Classic Arms with £1,000, you will get a much better gun than the Tippmann, 100%. Like, you know, I've shot the tip. I think I've managed to shoot now and almost review every 2.2 semi-automatic AR. Done both variants of the 1522, a few variants of the Tippmann, LASF-15, the Raven, the L119, the battle arms, both variants now, the battle arms, the lightweight and the ambi, the Chris, even the Colt M4, like even the HK 416, if you count that as an AR, even the SIG 522, Northwest Custom Parts ARs, even the Caliber Innovations Siscars in 2.2, or with the CMMG conversion. What other options are there? I always hate doing this because I always end up forgetting someone. Anyway, I've shot a fair few of them, and whilst everyone's opinions and experiences are going to be different, the four I would say to anyone, and these are all at different price points, right? 1522, right? That's ultimately my vote, right? Because it's the best for the money. The Smith & Wesson 1522, yes, I know I sound like a broken record. It's just the one to go for. Failing that, the Lantac LA-SF-15, superb rifle, great quality. I think great value for money for what is a mil-spec AR with the CMMG conversion. Just fuck the company. And the Cotswold Classic Arms L119, superb gun for the money. Like, I honestly don't know how Otto's making money on that. Or the battle arms from the from Cotswold Classic Arms, either the lightweight or the ambi. Can't go wrong with either. Those are the four you should be looking at. The Tippmann, yeah, a lot of people use them, a lot of people rave about them. It's not full mil spec, right? You're paying the price of an L119 or an LASF-15, which are both fully mil spec. The Tippmann has a proprietary safety, so you can't upgrade the safety levers. You can upgrade the ambis. You can't I don't believe you can upgrade the trigger on it. It's just not full mil spec, right? And for me, you get a really twangy buffer tube, and it's just, for me, not the highest quality rifle out there. And for me, again, there are far better ones on the market. But like, if you out there love the Tippmann and that's the gun that you want and that's the one you lust over, more power to you. Like, go and enjoy it. Don't let my opinion spoil that. But if you're asking for my opinion, like, out of those, Lantac. Hello, Holly. Ladies and gentlemen, my fiance has joined the chat. Wind your necks in, hands off. She's mine. I put a ring on it, and yeah, we haven't been talking about anything inappropriate at all, Holly. It's been really, really clean this evening. Yes, I am very sleepy. I could just drift off into a deep sleep right now. But thank you for joining. I'm surprised you're still awake. Holly and I were both at the wedding that I was talking about earlier. No, it's not our wedding yet, but actually Holly's sister. So a big congratulations to Rich and Sophie. I'll just get that one out there. And I turned my skills and experience of filming gun videos into filming a wedding. So I mean, they're basically the same, right? Filming someone down the range, filming someone's, most important day, like their special day. We'll see how that one comes out. Don't know. I could have some hidden talents there. Hey Callum, do you own any black powder guns? No. I mean, like, technically I do own guns. Technically I don't. But whilst I had my licenses, I didn't buy any black powder. At some stage, a review of the T2 WMR. Yes, I keep on meaning to drop the tunnel a message. They probably won't want me to go and review it because I wasn't particularly kind of it when they first announced it. I still think it's just trying to be a bit too clever, but personally. But yes, I do want to go and shoot it. I do want to reserve judgment until I have seen it, until I've got my hands on it. But yeah, it's on the list. Anyone seen the 50 cal semi-auto being prototyped by a guy on YouTube? What, the AK one? Just don't put any slap rounds through it, please. There's a few semi-auto 50 cals already on the market. Yeah, Barrett would know a thing or two about that. Have you ever shot the STG 44 copy chambered in 22 LR? No, I don't think so. Let me refresh my memory on that one. No, I haven't actually. That's I've seen them about, but I'm more of an AR guy. A AK-50 looks sick. It does. Let's hope he can put a thumb on it if it all goes wrong. Favorite gun tuber for me has to be Iraq Veteran 8888 or Larry Vickers. 8888 or Iraq Veteran. I've said this many times. It was one of the first gun YouTubers that I started watching. Absolutely loved Barry and Eric. I absolutely loved Barry and Eric. It for me just. It became too commercial. It became too like, you know, buy our man cans. You know, buy me a second home. You know, it just like and fair play, right? You know, fair play. The guys built a successful business out of it. You know, just like Demolition Ranch and all that. But I loved the feel of it when it was just like him and like Eric and Barry chatting shit in the shop. You know, and when Barry unfortunately left the channel. I can't remember if he left it and then died or died and therefore left it. But anyway, it wasn't for me. It wasn't the same. And also like his whole thing on like UK, like if you type in like UK guns, I'm usually the first one that to hit that search. Let's test that actually. I'm intrigued. It's probably actually the BBC Two thing, come to think of it. Let's bring that up. So YouTube, oh no, not YouTube, UK guns. Yes, look, it's me. The most prolific gun? No, it's all laws. Let's see. Oh, it's me again. Great. Oh, it's the stream. That's an old video. Oh, they make me cringe. Let's. Oh, it used to come up. It used to come up as like one of the when you type in. Maybe it's like YouTube gun. UK gun law is the one that brings it up. It's me. I really need to change that fucking thumbnail. How old's that video? 7 years. That is one of like the OG videos. Oh, yeah, that was me when I was a lot slimmer. Oh, it doesn't come up. Like, here we go. So this was it. Like, he got like a certified like UK gun expert, and it wasn't particularly good, and it just sort of annoyed me. And yeah, anyway, that was like really the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And like the gun gripes, I used to love the gun gripes, and then they just got so tedious. But yeah, I used to really enjoy Iraq Veteran. For the UK, it has to be English shooting easy. Don't worry, I'll slip you 20 quid later, alright? Callum, did you actually not like London? I loved London. I don't know what you mean by that. I used to live in London. It's where I studied university. I love being in the city, in the smoke. But fuck buying a house in London. Like, absolutely, like, £250,000 for a cupboard. Yeah, so I moved, back down south. When Callum gets a range day together, I'll come to him and review it. Review what? His shotgun weather. Ba-bum boom. I did suggest to Holly that we should have a wedding at a range. That was quickly a no. That's the polite version anyway. Okay, cool question. If UK gun laws didn't exist and you could own any firearm, what would you own and why? Are we talking about one gun? If you could only own one gun? Well, I like to pose it a different way. If all gun restrictions were lifted tomorrow, what would be the first gun I go out and buy? I mean, that's a serious question. I don't know if I can just answer that one on the fly. I've said before the Beretta 92 FS. I think I'm gonna have to stick to that, right? Because first of all, it's a handgun. Personally, I want to own a handgun in the UK more than what I want to own a full-bore semi-automatic rifle. So it would be a handgun. The first gun I would go out and buy is a handgun. And, I mean, like, Die Hard, right? It's got to be a Beretta 92 FS. Followed very swiftly by a Walther PPQ Q5 SF. Then probably a Glock 19. Then probably a Smith & Wesson 500. No, I'd probably buy a snub nose 357 Magnum Smith & Wesson first, then the 500 because, you know, lol. I'd buy so many handguns. Just the thing is, if I was in the States, I'd probably have more handguns than any other gun. Because you can take more to the range, right? I'd have one of those pelly cases that have like 10 different slots, and you just, you know, pick up the pelly case and go. Whereas long guns, I love long guns. Like, you know, in terms of the practical disciplines, practical shotgun is where it's at for me. But it's a fucking ball ache taking them anywhere, right? A handgun you can just chuck in a backpack and go up to the range, right? With if you've got a long gun, you've got to have a car that has a big enough boot, you know, to fit it in, or otherwise you've got to break it down. They're heavier, you know, less concealable, and I don't mean for those reasons. I mean for security. You know, you've got to buy bigger safes and all that. So definitely a definitely a handgun. Hi Callum, when are you going to give reloading a try? At some point. I'm not going to make any promises. I'm not going to make any promises on that, but it's definitely something I want to try and want to try and document as well as possible within YouTube's law. YouTube's laws, YouTube's rules. Hey Callum, have you ever watched Forgotten Weapons? Of course. How can you not? It's a great source of information. I don't find the videos necessarily entertaining, but if I want to learn something, then Forgotten Weapons is usually where I head to. I watched one of your older videos last week. You look like a clean-cut kid. What happened? Oh, wounded. It's what 7 years? How long have you been in the channel? 7, 8 years. It's what 7 or 8 years will do dealing with Hampshire constabulary. All right, you know, I was a peppy, clean-shaven young man when I first got into shooting, and Hampshire just sucked that right out of me. Not like that. Do Bisley practice practical shotgun? Just joined. They do, but personally, you want to join the UK PSA. If you want to do like top level practical shotgun or any practical shooting, the UK PSA is the IPSC franchise. The IPSC is the International Practical Shooting Confederation. It is internationally recognized, and an IPSC has received observer status from the Olympics, which is like a big step for IPSC becoming an Olympic sport. So the UK PSA effectively administrates IPSC within the UK. The NRA have their own flavour of practical shooting, but you can never progress to an international level through the NRA's you know, leagues, practical leagues. If you want to go and shoot at the highest level possible, if you want to, you know, become a world champion in practical shooting, then the UK PSA is where you want to go. I mean, I just realised, like, if we're talking like no gun laws, like full autos are on the table. And the thing is, like, everyone's saying Gatling, a minigun. Like, yeah, of course. Like, if I could have like any amount of guns and any guns, yeah, a minigun. But they're not practical. Right? I know they're fun, but they're not practical, right? They're incredibly expensive to run. It's not like, unless you get like the handheld, well, even they're like fucking chunky. Like, you can't just pop to a range with your minigun. Maybe an MP5. Yeah, Richard Burns. Yeah, MP5 or AK. I love the MP5. It's just so enjoyable to shoot. 9mm, fairly cheap to run. Well, unless you live in the States at the moment. MP5 go brr. Yes, they do. Where at Bisley do they do practical shotgun? I've never seen or heard of it. I shoot there every week. It's because I'm just gonna say it, like Andrew Mercer, the CEO of Bisley, of the National Shooting Centre, or whatever company name they have this week, doesn't like it, right? The majority of the NRA does not like practical shooting, even though they tried to take IPSC away from the UK PSA, which would have been a complete disaster for the sport. They don't like it. It's like the dirty little stain of Bisley, right? So they always stick it in a far corner somewhere. They never give it the resource or the promotion that it really needs. They actually lock people out of the range. They run one of the biggest practical shotgun matches of the year, the Costello Heath Challenge, and spectators are not allowed. They lock the gates, right? They don't want people finding out about it. They hate the idea of promoting practical, and it really pisses me off. So the UK PSA, because the UK PSA are all about pushing forward and promoting, and they're okay with me filming there and making videos, and I've done that for both EnglishShooting and also previously with other channels as well. So they're up for a bit of promotion, because they understand, wait, the more people that the more people that learn about it, the more people that know about it, the more people that are going to do it, and that's good, right? But the NRA, no, they don't like anything practical. They don't give it enough promotion, and yeah, they try and sweep it under the rug. Callum, you had a suitcase where you packed your firearms and you travelled to a gun range in London, and you said you didn't like London. I'm concerned. Well, I don't know why you're concerned. Not really a concerning point for you. And it wasn't a suitcase. It was, I'm pretty sure it was just a general gun bag. It just wasn't gun shaped. I don't think I'd ever said that I didn't like London. I like London quite a bit. London isn't the easiest place to shoot. It's not the easiest place to transport firearms, so perhaps that's what I meant. But I don't know. That video was was filmed a very long time ago. So, but no, absolutely love London. Where can I sell deactivated weapons? First of all, you need to make sure that any deactivated weapons conform to or firearms, deactivated firearms, conform to modern deactivated standards. So if you're going to sell it on, you are responsible for making sure that they're up to scratch. Personally, I would consult a dealer, right? I would talk to, I mean, if you just Google, deactivated guns, I did end up finding, so I had somebody get in contact for a variety of different reasons, and there are a couple that specialize in deacs, but just use Google. But I'd get in contact with a gun store or a specialist in deactivated firearms. Holt's auctioneers might be a good place to start. I really can't remember, but have a Google, right? Just Google like UK deactivated firearms, and talk to a specialist. It's so easy for you to get on the wrong side of the law. If they're not up to current standards and you're selling them to people, you can land yourself in a lot of trouble. Callum, have you ever heard of the B&T APC? If so, what are your opinions on it? Nope, I don't think. I'm going to give it a bit of a Google. You're just leading me to some porn site on it. Oh, I have seen it before. No, I mean, that just looks far too much fun for us to be using here in the UK, unfortunately. How much are neighbours and issues with range planning? Only houses within a fairly short distance. They're there on weekends, mainly surely with people running subsonics. It shouldn't be that bad. To be honest, noise complaints and issues with neighbours is the number one issue that new rangers face, or in terms of finding a suitable place or suitable site, it's the number one issue faced. There's a few get arounds, right? So first of all, there's the 28-day rule. There's within planning, you are allowed to use a piece of a property or a piece of land within reason for any activity for up to 28 days without planning permission. So that's why some clubs and certainly playgrounds will only shoot 2 weekends a month, right? Because they're operating within the 28-day rule. And as long as they are only doing that activity for 28 days of the year, the planning can't really do too much. And you can get even sneakier because it's per activity, right? Clay pigeon shooting is a different activity to airsoft. That's why a lot of playgrounds will do airsoft and clay pigeon, because they will get 28 days for clay pigeon and 28 days for airsoft. Also, air rifle shooting is different to airsoft, is different to clay pigeon. You get the general idea. So you can be fairly creative within the 28-day rule. But if you want to establish a business, then you want to be open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you will need planning permission. You will need, you will need, what's the word? Consent from the local planning office and local council. And that will involve informing the people nearby, the people that are going to be affected. I know a few ranges that will stipulate moderators and subsonic ammunition. It's not the road you should go down. Not everybody has a moderator on their FAC, and like if you're doing like mini rifle competitions, people aren't going to be wanting to switch to subsonic in a semi-auto, and again, they're not going to be wanting to run moderators. So I would just go balls to the wall. Maybe start, if it's sort of like a side thing. If you want to do it as a full business, then before investing any significant money, you want to ascertain whether you can actually viably run a business there, and maybe go and speak to the homeowner. Go and say, look, this is what I'm planning on doing. Would you have any objections, or is there anything that we could do to mitigate it? However, I would say if this is something that you're sort of testing the water on, you're maybe going to invest a little bit of money and see how it goes, then operate under the 28-day rule. Again, be courteous to the people nearby, try and get them on side, invite them down, right? Because people hear gunshots close by, they don't normally think about legal activities, right? So get them down to the first shoot, right? Invite them, tell them that you're going to be doing it, get them there, get them to experience it. With any luck, you'll get them to become shooters, and they will have no issue with a range being on their doorstep. But yes, you will potentially have issues. Operate under the 28-day rule, and I would say go from there. Build it up from there. Fun, is that legal here? No, you cannot have fun with a gun. Nope. No, when you have a license for air guns, yes, unfortunately for Scotland. Give me your take on sustainable ammunition. You mean like non-lead? Do you really want me to go off on one again about Basque and lead? I've already done it. Like that, I've dedicated many a live stream to the whole fucking lead debacle with Basque. Sustainable in principle, yes. We need more sustainable ammunition. We need ammunition that isn't in essence toxic. Unfortunately, the technology is not there. Right, we're nowhere near close to it. And the technology should be the deciding factor, right? It shouldn't be us going, yeah, within 5 years we're going to have the technology, right? That's throwing the dice and letting it roll. What we want is the technology first to go, right, we have now reached a point where we have sustainable ammunition, where it is non-toxic, where it is biodegradable, and all of the bunny kissers and huggers and tree whatevers, they're all happy, and then we go, right, we can continue the sport now without completely throwing it under the bus. That's my thought on sustainable ammunition. Yes, we need it. Yes, we need to reach that point. I don't think we're there. What's your thoughts on the guy who shot his neighbor with an air rifle? Idiot. Like, how the guy isn't in prison, do not know, right? It's just, it makes us look bad. It makes legal owners look bad. Yeah, don't forget crossbows. Yeah, moving on. Do you think 2022 is too soon? Yes. Again, I don't think we are there. I don't think we're anywhere near. and Bask is going to end up with they're either going to be very fucking lucky. They're either, like, the ammunition manufacturers are either going to pull a rabbit out the hat in time, or Bask is going to end up with a lot of egg on their face. Solar powered railguns. Tell me more. I don't know what your opinion is of the guy that you filmed the BBC interview with, but I don't personally like him. He makes all UK gun owners look like psychopaths. I think he was trying to be edgy. I think he was trying to he was just going to go, I think he was just going with the very cliche, everyone makes gun owners look bad, I'm going to try and do it in my own special way. And luckily, I think we succeeded. I think overall that was a plus for the community, a plus for shooting sports. So yeah, it's like, he asked me various questions several times, and I knew he was trying to get very particular answers, and he used the ones that fit closest to, I think, the agenda that he had. And he sweared loads of times, he's, look, I'm impartial, I'm this, that, and the other. The general tone of that documentary says otherwise, right? But to be fair, it was accurate. There were no lies. It wasn't misleading. It was all factual. And again, because of that, I think ultimately it was a great advert for the sport. Funnily enough, he's actually started his own production company. It's called, I think, Zandland Films. And I was contacted by one of his guys recently, actually, to say, would I be interested in doing something again? I said, absolutely. Regardless of that, it was an absolute grilling, and it's the most intense day that I've ever had. Like, staying mentally sharp for the whole of that was nigh on impossible. But I was like, yeah, because, like, so many, first of all, as a, if I want to be selfish for a moment, that video is responsible for a lot of people finding the channel. And ultimately, if people find the channel, hopefully then I can get them converted. I can show them what the real deal is with shooting sports in the UK, and tempt them to try it. So for me, that's enough justification. But ultimately, like, owners and like committee members of various clubs up and down the country, when I've bumped into them, have said, like, you wouldn't believe how many people contacted us directly from that. So I was like, cool, it worked, right? It was a huge gamble, but it paid off. But yeah, I think he was just trying to be a bit too edgy. He was just trying to go with the sort of generic narrative of, guns are bad and gay. It's, and hopefully if we do ever connect again and do anything, he will try and get past that and actually look into really what shooting sports and firearms ownership in the UK is like. Gun pointed to a scope rifle. He said that looks like a real sniper. He didn't. So, like, it does sound like that, and I'm sure it was edited in a way to sound like that. It was machine gun, right? Everyone says that. He says that's a proper machine gun, and he didn't say that. He said that looks like a proper machine. But in the edit, it does sound like he makes a faux pas, like sniper rifle or machine gun or something like that. But yeah, again, he was trying, he brought up the whole, why do you need 30 rounds, and I was like, well, if you're scared of somebody with 30 rounds, you should be scared of somebody with 10. Like, oh yeah, but they can shoot more people with 30 rounds. Yeah, you can shoot as many people with just 3 10-round magazines. Oh yeah, but you can't carry as much. It's exactly the same. And it was things like that. The capacity of a gun does not make the gun more dangerous. Simple as. It's the nut behind the butt. Lol, converted. Join our cult. Join us. Buy merch. What are your thoughts on crossbow hunting? Do you think that a license should be required? To be honest, I'm not knowledgeable enough on hunting with firearms in general, never mind like with crossbows. My general stance on hunting, as long as it's humane, right? Whether bow hunting or crossbow hunting is humane, I would like somebody more educated and experienced on the subject matter to sort of make that decision. But as long as it is humane, as long as it is for a purpose, you are protecting livestock, you are protecting crops, or you're doing it for food, fill your boots. Adam, yeah, I'm doing well. Hope you're good. I am actually very, very tired. You can carry more 10 round mags than 30 round mags. Lol. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I hope you're well, Adam. Thanks for dropping by. I need 30 in case I miss with a 20/29. Yeah, exactly right. Although that's sort of like the 1911 argument over Glock. If you have more rounds, you'll just miss more. That video introduced me to your channel, and I am forever grateful. My bank balance on their hand is not a fan. Yes, I do extend a sincere apology to anybody that I have introduced to lawful firearms ownership. It takes money, right? But yeah, as you said, it introduced you. So again, I'm thankful for that video because it did help grow the channel, and because of that, we've been able to reach more people, get more people shooting and owning guns. Nothing from Captain Crack today. Let's see. He's not turned up, but let's have a look at onlyguns.co.uk. No, it's still the same as last week. And for those of you that missed it, that was the onlyguns.co.uk from last week. I'm gonna have to like kick Captain Crack up the at the backside. He's not fulfilling his duties at all well recently. So another thing, actually, I'll bring up now. One thing I talked about it, I think last week, but it is now live, and that is the Welcome to the Gun Show podcast. So both Connors and I, if some people don't seem to know this, right? I have a huge involvement. I'm actually a part owner of Magload. Hence all the plugging, because it's what in essence pays the bills. So both Connors and I run Magload. Of course, it was Connors that originally founded Magload, but we've we run it together now along with Paul. And we were invited to the Welcome to the Gun Show podcast. And for those wanting to know the web address, so you can go and watch it. There you go. Yes, I do have a folder on Neighbours. I'm always watching, as I'm sure they are as well. So it's gunshow.co.za. It's a South African based podcast. The guys on there are hilarious, very much our types of people, and we probably talked more about the comparison between South African gun laws and UK gun laws. South Africa are having a pretty bad time of it at the moment, but if you want to learn all about that and the differences, and also a bit more about Magload, how Magload was founded, how it's run today, and a bit more about Connors and I, then go and check out this the Modest Talk with Magload. You'll get that joke if you go and watch the video. And for anyone that has already had a watch of it, thank you, and don't forget to go and like them. Although that's all of theirs. And the main catalyst for this is that we do now have a South African supplier who I will plug now. So Rocksteady Gear are the sole South African importers and distributors of Magload. So if you are in South Africa, then go and check these guys out. And I would just appreciate any of you guys, if you're a fan of the channel, you want to help us, you want to help Magload, go and give these guys a like. And then also, if you actually go to Rocksteady Gear, you'll be able to get the link to Welcome to the Gun Show. Go and give these guys a big fat like, and you can find out the most recent. You can find the link there for the podcast as well. It was fun. Like, if you like the live streams, you'll like the podcast. I think in some way we got an even more spicier than we have done on the live streams on this channel. So yeah, if you like listening to me jabber on, then you would definitely love that. Really, Connor said you were the T-boy. Well, I'm going to have words with him. Can they own pistols and semi-automatic rifles? Yes, they can. But in some ways, it's more difficult for them to own them. Well, obviously, we can't fucking own any of those. But for a like-for-like gun, it seems actually a little bit more arduous and harder for South Africans to own guns out there, which I was very surprised about. I had a very different view of South African gun laws And the reason I say go and check out thegunshow.co.za is because if you want to learn about South African gun laws, it will be very, very educational. I certainly learn a hell of a lot going and checking them out. Any news on the Southern Gun Company 9mm underlever? I got a wad of cash from the surrender of my lever release burning a hole in my pocket. Yes, rack and load. Neil has managed to get his hands on one. Let me pull up his video. I'm itching to get hold of one personally. They're so cool. I might give Southern Gun Company drop him a line. So I think it's Neil's latest video. It's not like a full review or anything, and I hope, Neil, you don't mind. I mean, I'm giving you a big plug. Go and if you're not already, go and subscribe to Rack and Load. It's a big channel. Been doing a lot longer than I have, but Neil has some footage of it. I don't know if there's much sort of in the way of review. I think he talks a little bit about it beforehand, but this is really the most sort of information out there about it. But yeah, I'd like to get my hands on one and learn a bit more. I don't know if they're available yet. Let's have a look. If I go to the Gun Company, do they have any of the underlever? So this is the webs. I don't know if I can actually show this on YouTube. But take it from me, there doesn't seem to be the underlever on the website. But the best people to do is get in contact with Southern Gun Company to see if it's available. That's what I would recommend. But yeah, as I said, I am pretty shattered. It's been a busy few days for me, so I think we've been live for 2 hours. Fuck me, that's gone quickly. I do this every time. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do like an hour this evening because I'm really shattered, and then we just go blow through 2 hours. But before you all disappear, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It does mean a lot. I do really appreciate it. Give the channel a chance, right? You know, it's not all just mindless rambling. We do some serious stuff from now and again, and there is the occasional gun on the channel. But yeah, I am going to wrap it up there. We will video as always this week. I'm not entirely sure what it will be. I do have like a good idea. I've tried filming it a couple of times, didn't come out that well. An interesting comparison with gambling and firearms ownership. Like, stay with me on that. It's I might do a retake of that because I think there's something there. It's just like some interesting stats and comparison between firearms or firearm crime and gambling and things like that. I've got Speed Still, so I was at the Yevley Speed Still, the second one, this weekend, so I've got a load of footage from that. Managed my first sub 2 second string on the very last string, so it was the last string of the last stage of the day that I managed to do it, which was yeah, well, better late than never, I guess. So I'll be getting footage out of that, but that all needs to get approved. But yeah, there will be a video this week, and yeah, check it out. I hope you enjoy it, but I hope you also have an amazing week ahead. Thank you for stopping by this evening and joining this Mad Hatters live stream and sticking with me. You know, you guys coming here and getting involved is the highlight of my week. Even though I may be absolutely shattered, I still love doing it. It's always a great experience. And again, don't forget to hit the like button, share, subscribe, comment. Yeah, and we will see you next week. And it should, hopefully, with any luck, be half the standard time of 7:30 every Thursday UK time on the channel. So I'll see you there. Have a great weekend, and as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.